Hello, this is Miss Andrea, and it is grant writing season. So I'm working on grants for my homeschooling not-for-profit program. Grants for my homeschooling not-for-profit program are very vital because it allows me to teach people who wouldn't normally be able to homeschool because maybe the parent's a single parent, maybe they don't make a lot of money, maybe there aren't two adults in the household so that one can work and one can homeschool. And so my program is important to these types of people because I get some funding to help scholarship certain students, right? So last week, my business partner and I did a video on our curriculum publishing channel on the rise and fall of DEI programs because there is an official, unofficial, official, maybe not so official ban right now on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and grant makers that give out grants based on those things are not able to do that now. That's on hold, but for how long? So how much of my time is being wasted writing grants that I'll probably never see? So I'm going to play a few clips from that video for you and also give you the link to that video so you can watch it in full and let me know what you think. And we can discuss how that hurts people who it wasn't meant to harm.
I understand what's happening now is difficult. I understand what's happening now can be very confusing. And due to technology these days, it's really easy to get misinformed because our algorithms will cater to what we watch, what we want to hear. And we may not necessarily get what we need to hear. I would like to know, what is DEI and how did it even come about? Because we learn about this in school, but we don't. It's been a long time. I'm not telling my age, but it's been a long time since I've been. So, what is it and why was it implemented? And please be honest with me. Should I be nervous? How does this affect me? How does this affect my friends?
Interestingly, you said that you learned about things like this in school. So, can I ask a clarifying question? What do you remember talking about this kind of thing when you were in school? However,
Ancient civilization time.
because we're dinosaurs.
We're dinosaurs. I just remember it being clumped in with, and I could be wrong, but I just remember my brain clumping it in with civil rights or laws. When you have to learn the laws
So, like,
and learn amendments. Yeah, and things being amended or added. It wasn't something that just had its own section. It may have had a story that was attached to it as to why this was important. But it wasn't burned in my brain because I felt like that was something that was implemented after I got here. So I've been able to reap the benefits of what it is. So I didn't have to worry about what when it came about. It was just like, hey, this is here. And this is what helps you get into jobs and colleges and things like that. And I was like,
So I only really started hearing the term diversity, equity, and inclusion 25 years ago. That's what I was also thinking. This is a really actually a new way of talking about things. Before that, it was called affirmative action. And so, as an 18-year-old in 1986, entering Fordham University, and honestly, it was the first time I heard affirmative action. Are you here for affirmative action? Did you get into this very hard to get into college solely because you're black? And that they got shut up when it was time to turn in papers and get those papers back because they all wanted to compare grades. They stopped comparing grades. And so I'm on Time Magazine website and I'm going to read to you what they say about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So these programs can take many forms, but they generally describe efforts to increase access and to remove barriers from things like higher education and jobs for those from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, races, and genders. Right? And honestly, the people who benefit most from DEI right now are not black men. White women benefit from DEI more than black men do at this moment. Backgrounds, races, and genders. And so companies lean into genders to fill those holes. Is what it is, right? So The origins of DEI efforts in the federal government can be traced back to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, in which, among other things, discrimination in employment based on race, religion, sex, color, and origin were outlawed. You see, 1964, they said outlawed, and it's like, cool. So you think that the government said 1964, Lyndon B. Johnson was like, and everybody was like, cool. No, because water laws without enforcement, right? So Lyndon B. Johnson issued Executive Order 11246 the next year, which barred discrimination in federal employment and required the government to take affirmative action to ensure that applicants are employed and employees are treated during employment without regard to their race, creed, color, or national origin. This is the phrase affirmative action that we grew up with. Right. And that laws were made, and then, as with any laws that had anything to do with race, they then had to be enforced because people were that sure were. Right? So, our current administration has now revoked this action, stating that critical and influential institutions of American society have adopted and actively used dangerous, demeaning, and immoral race and sex-based preferences under the guise of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so it's not like they're saying diversity, equity, and inclusion is bad. They're saying other things are trickling in that warrants intimidating. Well, so there's a meme image that goes around that talks about what equity looks like. And it's they're standing at the fence watching a baseball game, and you've got look at this tall, and then an adult. The adult can see the game, and the quality is everybody gets the same size bench, and now everybody steps up the same size bench, so everyone's a little tall. And equity is benches that bring everybody up to where everybody can see over them. And so some people needing a little more boost than other people, and some people don't need a boost. And so it's bringing everybody up where everybody can see. And so this is the underlying philosophy behind why some people need additional supports than others. And when you deal with sociology and things like that, that's a pretty obvious sort of train of thought. And the problem when you're starting to do things like that is when some people are getting boosts, and this one person over here is not getting a boost, now they feel like they're discriminated against. And what's happening is they just don't have the artificial advantage that they would have had before. And so they're not actually being discriminated against, but that's how it feels to those people in that moment. And so it creates this fear among the privileged classes that, well, we've lost our privilege. That was never the way that it should have been in the first place, because our forefathers, all men are created equal. And so why are there things in the system that makes people unequal, and how do we fix it so that we are going back to our roots, back to our founding? All men are created equal. Every spring there are lawsuits because a student who has done all the things that it says on paper you're supposed to do to get to college, they have done them. They've got A's. They've done some dual enrollment or a ton of AP. They've run for class president, and they've found a niche where they can be a leader in a program somewhere. They've hit all the marks. They're out doing public service and doing all those things. And then what looks like your typical regular black kid gets a spot at Harvard, and they don't. And they scream bloody, stinking murder. What they don't understand is that they're going by the wrong formula. That kid may seem real average, but have an area of expertise that blows people's faces off. And this is what I talk about to homeschoolers. You can be pretty average, but there better be something about you that is just above board. You might be crazy scientist kid, or your verbal abilities may be amazing. You can interpret Shakespeare like nobody's business. Your math is off the chart. Those are the kids that are getting it. So every spring there have been lawsuits that said, he got in and I didn't. And I know that I've checked all the boxes. And so that's part of what the big brouhaha is about. Interestingly, before this whole Take Back the Initiative thing even happened, schools started rolling it back. And that demographic of kids who were suing and doing things, they lost because they were minorities who lost spots. When the whole time they thought the DEI was for the black kid who was getting it over them, and the DEI was for them. I don't know that really melts into the whole.
And so this is an hour-long video. And so I'm not going to go through the entire hour-long video. But the net is this. The people who I help through grants are not the people that those who are anti-DEI think are being helped. My population is not homogeneous. We're not all white. We're not all black. And the people we help is pretty much in sync with the local population, which means I have more white people in my organization than I have black people because our local homeschooling community represents that. And so then the people who I'm able to scholarship, not black. And I'm sorry, you can't tell me that the anti-DEI stuff is not anti-black because it is. And so we're in a season where anything that gives minorities an upper hand is being looked at because that money is being refunded back in to help rich people. Wild. And in the meantime, everyone is being hurt. Until next time.